Welcome, everyone, to a special episode of Truth in the Barrel. Today, we're doing the mailbag right before Thanksgiving. I'm Amy McGrath, and I'm here with Bill Sheehy. He is my executive producer, and we're going to have a lot of fun today. How you doing, Bill?
I'm hanging in there, Amy. I'm ready to have a drink with you and answer some questions and hear your answers on everything. I'm really, really excited. This is going to be a fun episode.
Yeah, this is going to be questions from the team and from our listeners today, right before the holiday. A little fun show. Let's start out, though, with some bourbon, shall we? Bill, why don't you start? What are you partaking with today?
I'm partaking in a little Eagle Rare 10. This is one of my favorite bourbons, as described by one of my best friend's dads. He said he doesn't talk a lot, but he said it's exquisite. So this is exquisite bourbon that I'm really excited to drink with you. What are you drinking?
Okay.
Amy?
Well, that's good. Man, a few words to say that about the bourbon is good. I like Green River. I like lots of bourbons in Kentucky, but Green River is one of my favorites. It's out of Owensboro, and I just went to Owensboro a week ago or so, and really love it down there. And I love this bourbon. Now, this is the rye. So it's Kentucky straight rye whiskey, and it's a little bit different than the bourbon. That's what I'm drinking today, and love it.
Awesome.
And so let's start out before we get to the mailbag with the cheers.
Cheers to you.
All right. Let's do it.
All right, Ames. Let's get into it. So because it's a Thanksgiving episode, we wanted to hear a little bit about your Thanksgiving traditions. So what does a typical Thanksgiving look like for you now?
Well, now it's either we spend Thanksgiving here in Kentucky, which is where I'm from. But of course, I'm married and my husband's from Maryland. And so like any married couple with children, we sort of split the time, right? So one year we'll be in Kentucky. The next year we will be in Maryland. My husband's from Western Maryland, and we'll drive up there and spend some time with his parents and have Thanksgiving there. But when we have it here, we go over to my mom's house, and we have the sort of extended family. They all come in, and it's kind of it's a big day, a lot of logistics, as you can imagine, with Thanksgiving. Everybody kind of brings something at this point. But my mother is very, very good and very particular, shall I say, with the turkey. She wants a certain turkey, a certain size, from a certain location, an actual turkey farm. The one from the grocery store is not going to work. It's got to be like fresh. And then she...
when you say fresh, is this like she's going out and getting the turkey herself, or like where is she getting it?
Yeah, the Turk has had has recently been living, and she likes it that way. This is a very long tradition in the McGrath household that we do this. And my mother is a really, really, really good cook. I'm a decent cook. I can follow directions really well, and I'm not very good at just kind of like figuring it out on my own without directions. But my mother has done this for years. And so everything that she knows is in her head, and it's great. So we just, I go and I help her out usually early in the morning and kind of follow directions.
Cool.
And help her. And the kids come over, and we have, nieces and nephews that all come over, and it's a big day.
Awesome. Now going off of that, you say you follow directions really well. You're when you're cooking, what is your like Thanksgiving like dish that you're in charge of? What's the one thing that like you said you were following directions? You're a decent cook. What's the thing that you're making?
I'm really making whatever mom tells me to make. So whether that's sweet potatoes or regular potatoes or whatever, honestly, if it is up to me and someone would say, okay, do this dish, I would have to kind of look in the books and figure out how to do it. So for Thanksgiving, I usually just follow directions, and I'll do whatever I'm told.
Do you have directions for this year? Do you know what you're making yet?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. I go there.
Day of.
Well, it's more than the day of. It's actually a couple of days prior. We get the turkey a couple of days prior, and there's some prep there. Now we're serious here about this turkey. I mean, it's you got to do the gravy from the insides, right? I mean, but this is no joke. And so we work on that a couple of days prior, and then the day prior we sort of do the sides, some of them, so that the day of we're not overwhelmed, because on Thanksgiving you want to enjoy each other. You don't want to be completely exhausted. You don't want to be in front of the stove all day. So we're watching football. A lot of times we're playing football outside with the kids, or we're playing games inside, depending on the weather. It's a lot of fun.
Heck yeah. Do you have any favorite Thanksgiving memories from when you were growing up?
Well, Thanksgiving was always a time to get together with family. And when I was a kid, we had another family that we were very close with. My parents were very close with this other couple, and they had kids our age. And we did Thanksgiving with them every year. And a lot of times we would go out to the woods and kind of have Thanksgiving dinner at a house out there that we got together in, and it was great. We played games. There wasn't any TV going on then, but we had a lot of fun. And then later on, as I got a little bit older and in high school, and then at the academy, when I would come home from the Naval Academy, Thanksgiving morning, a tradition that I started was, which I don't do anymore, which is running 6 miles. What? So I would do the turkey trot, right? The turkey trot was in northern Kentucky, and it went over the bridge into Cincinnati. And you'd run 6 miles. And I was in really good shape, when I was in high school and then in college in my 20s, before I had children, right? And I would do this every year. And it was great because I'd run 6 miles and then I'd eat a bunch of turkey. Over the years, that run became a jog. And then that jog became a walk.
Well, you earned your Thanksgiving dinner. Like, if you're running 6 miles, but right before it, that's a lot of dedication. What?
Yeah. And now that we have dogs, we really don't do that sort of run with lots of people anymore. Or walk. I just take them hiking.
Cool. Awesome. Awesome. That's a great answer. So, we were talking in our staff meeting yesterday, Amy, about possibly having a surprise guest come on and talk about their experience with you growing up with their Thanksgiving traditions and everything. And we thought about it for a long time. And our special guest today wants to share some of their favorite Thanksgiving memories with you. Let's go ahead and let's bring her on. There she is. Look who it is.
There she is.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Are we muted?
You're muted.
You're mute. We can't. As we were talking about before, we were talking about favorite Thanksgiving memories from when Amy was growing up. And she was very, very complimentary of your turkey making and cooking.
Well, that was sort of a compliment and sort of a complaint.
I got all compliment there. That's what I heard.
Did you explain that we named every turkey? We named every turkey we had,
Well, Mom, this is called truth in the barrel. So I have to say the truth is that you're a very good, but you're very particular.
Do we have a name for this year's turkey then?
Not yet, because we were going to let the kids, the little kids. Now, the littlest kids in my extended family now are Amy's children, because my other children, my grandchildren, are older, so they don't get to do that. And the little kids are the ones that traditionally get to, if they want to, help me stuff the turkey, but they have to name it first. And then we have to splatter it all with butter. And of course, there's no little kid who doesn't love to do that. And we've been doing that for a long time.
Heck yeah.
So we'll wait and see what the kids want to do. And
is there a particular memory of Amy that comes to mind from Thanksgiving? It can be embarrassing. It can be fun. It can be funny. Whatever you feel like it is the right answer here. You go at what is that?
My two other children, Amy's sister and brother, would fight me for this because they have lots of memories of Amy at Thanksgiving time. But really, Thanksgiving in our house has always been about family. And wherever we had family that lived within a day's driving distance, really, because much of my family was originally from Pennsylvania, but I now have brothers and sisters all over the country. And so anybody who happened to be passing by would join us for Thanksgiving. And very often, if the kids had special friends whose families might not be having a celebration, they'd invite them. So we almost always had extras at our house for Thanksgiving dinner. And for Thanksgiving Day, for that matter, because we kind of all did our things. And our things were mostly when the children were younger, playing outside, and mostly football outside.
Yeah.
The older people would watch the football inside on the TV, but
did you ever play?
No, I would watch, but in that I don't. That running and walking has never been my thing too much. I kind of I can pass well.
Okay. You were with us in spirit. and you were with us in spirit, Mom.
And that's true.
And speaking of spirits, do you happen to have I know you have a bottle of really good bourbon.
Well, because you
right around the corner in your house. Because I usually, when I come over, it's Colonel Taylor, right?
You got Colonel Taylor? Dr. McGrath. Come on. I didn't know you were a connoisseur. That's awesome.
Well, I wasn't until I got this as a gift from a dear friend family of mine. And boy, we parcel it out at special times. There's no doubt.
Perfect.
When Amy was very young, that's what they did. They spent a lot of the day outside. But as she got older and so forth, she really did more inside. And her dad, my husband, absolutely loved Thanksgiving. But he loved almost any time that he liked that we could celebrate something. And he loved celebrating family. And especially at a time when he could take them to a parade or have them watch a parade. And so every Thanksgiving morning, all three of the kids were expected to spend a certain amount of time with him in front of the television watching the Macy's Thanksgiving parade. Now the kids enjoyed parades in person when they were really little, but they tended to get old. And in Cincinnati, with the Reds and so on and so forth, we have a lot of parades. And we live right across the river from Cincinnati. So they were at every parade that ever was in Cincinnati when they were little. But as time went on, Amy's went to the academy. We didn't see her really until Thanksgiving. I mean, when she went off for the beginning of the school year. And in those days, we didn't have cell phones, and we didn't have immediate contact with her. And if we got a brief phone call, occasionally, not even once a week, it was really treasured time. So, when she flew in for Thanksgiving, her dad celebrated her coming before she ever got here. And there were times we all went out to the airport to greet her. And of course, when she came, she was wearing her uniform, which in those days was like this big surprise. But you talk about a memory. Do you remember the first year that when you were a plebe, when you came home for Thanksgiving, and we started off to the airport to take her back, reluctantly, didn't want to do it, but we had to, of course, because the Army-Navy game was coming up, and everybody knows that's the big thing of the year at the Naval Academy. But we were halfway to the airport, and Amy had this panicked yell. I forgot my cover. Now, that's what they called their their hats, and God forbid that we didn't turn around right then and there and go back, because you could never appear after Thanksgiving or any time in uniform without your cover.
Sure. I mean, I was a plebe. I was a freshman, and I would have gotten yelled at, and my life would have been miserable. I would have rather just missed the plane than.
Well, and that's exactly what we risked at the time, going back there to get the darn cover. And you made the plane, but boy, you just barely made it. I tell you the truth.
I love that. That's amazing. That's a wonderful memory. Well, thank you,
No, it's not.
No, I think it's fun,
I actually don't remember that. Some things you just block out.
Oh, yes. And you
stressful.
would, because I know that was a big thing, You would prefer to remember things like the playing hearts on the living room floor. Again, something that Don, my husband, loved to do with the kids. And as soon as they were old enough to learn, they would play hearts. Everybody would play hearts on the floor.
Well, or Trivial Pursuit.
Oh, that's true. We got into that too.
Yeah, that was fun.
So we had good times.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, Dr. McGrath, thank you so much for surprising Amy. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you being willing to come on and talk about favorite Thanksgiving memories. But we will talk with you later. Thank you so much for coming on.
Right.
I'll see you soon, Mom.
All right, dear. Bye-bye.
Take care, Doc. I thought that'd be fun. That's I know you like to be prepared. A little surprise every now and then is a good thing.
That's great.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Well, so we've talked a little bit about what Thanksgiving looked like at home, what it looks like now. I think a lot of people would like to know what Thanksgiving looks like when you're deployed. So what did that look like when you were deployed? How did you guys celebrate? And what's one Thanksgiving memory from when you were in the military that really stands out to you?
Well, the one big deployment when I was gone for Thanksgiving and I was gone for Christmas and New Year's was what's called a Westpac deployment. So a lot of my Middle East deployments happened, between February and October of those years. And so I was fortunate during the Middle East deployments, the combat deployments, to actually come home for the holidays, which was amazing. But there was one year when I did what's called a Westpac deployment. That is a deployment where you do the Western Pacific. Okay, so your squadron flies out from California, and you spend 6 months in Japan. You spend a lot of the time in Japan, but you're also in Guam and Australia. You do some time potentially in South Korea, and so in those areas all around the Western Pacific. And one year we did a Westpac, and we did Thanksgiving in Okinawa. Ooh. And we were in an air base called Kadena. And you really, of course, you're away from your family, but you have your Marine Corps family. And usually a squadron does a really good job of having a really great meal wherever you're at, whether you have to go out for that meal or usually you stay on base. And the USO, okay, that's the group that really helps active duty military members kind of feel like they're still at home. They'll bring in things like the turkeys and that sort of thing, and help the squadrons, help the units. So I just remember being there and being amongst, my fellow Marines and trying to enjoy Thanksgiving as much as we could, during that day. We didn't fly there during that time. We took the day off.
Heck yeah. When you were in Okinawa in Japan, was there any kind of food or like snacks, drink, or anything that you had while you were there that like really stood out that you either liked or were like, that's interesting, or like what was that like?
Well, I mean, when you can't get deployed to Japan and not see and taste everything Japanese, right? So there are many times when you go out in town, and of course I don't read Japanese, so I couldn't read the menus a lot. So you're looking at sort of pictures and you're like, whoa, what is that? Maybe I'll try that. And I have to admit, there were some things that were just phenomenal, and I still don't know what they are. And then there are some things where it was a little bit fishy, a little bit too squishy for me. And so I'm not a super fan of like squid or octopus. I did try it when I was overseas. Not a fan, but I do like sushi. And if Japanese like sushi from Japan is amazing. Not a fan of wasabi. So you have to, like, if you go to Japan, and this is like just pointers for anybody listening. If you go to Japan and you don't like wasabi, you have to tell them because in Japan, they don't put it on the side. They put it inside the sushi rolls. It's like inside every single sushi roll. Yeah. So you have to like really tell them that, or it's just destroys it. For me, at least. So those are kind of some of the things. And then when I went to Australia, I did try crocodile.
Interesting.
And I did not really like it. It was very.
Is it like? Have you had gator before? Is it kind of like that, where like it kind of? I've never had
gator, but it was very chewy. I'll just say that was really chewy, not good.
Before I had it, everyone just said it just tastes like chicken. So crocodile does not taste like chicken.
It could taste like chicken. It tastes like it tastes like rubber chicken. Like it's just I don't know. It wasn't my favorite. But of course I loved, Japan sake. In Japan is great. The Japanese beer, Asahi. I love Asahi, and
heck yeah.
It's just it was great. It was great 6 months, even though I was there over Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's.
I want to transition a little bit more into kind of questions from people that like commented on our social media and everything. I want to hear your answer to this from Dalton Belcher. What is the most impactful book you've read this year, or what is your favorite book that you've read in this year?
That's a good question. I have read lots of books. I just finished one and I know, and I've said this before, I'm kind of a nerd and I love history. And so I read a book about called Blind Man's Bluff. It's about the submarine force in the Cold War and all of the sort of top secret things that our silent service, our submarine force did during the Cold War, which I really didn't know anything about. That was pretty fascinating to me. I am currently, I'm kind of like one of those people that reads multiple books at the same time and like audiobooks at the same time too. So I'm kind of in the middle of lots of different ones right now.
Oh, heck yeah.
But that one was one that I just finished a little bit ago. It was really good.
Nice. All right, let's do this one from Jared Bachman Stubbs. He's Jared the Gray Jedi on Instagram.
Okay.
He's asked, during trying times, the power of storytelling tends to lift us up and steal us from the trials to come. What stories do you hold dear or take to during a time like this when our resolve needs to be stronger than ever?
I think the stories that I hold dear are the true stories of American history. Mm. I'm a big history buff. I think certain people are connected to history, and I'm one of them, meaning in a sense that I really love to try to learn and understand what people who lived 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, what they went through in their struggles. So when I think about everything that's going on today, I like to look back at some other times in history and recognize that what some of Americans went through and sacrificed for us, mm-hmm. for, posterity, for the future, really matters. So right now we have the Ken Burns documentary happening on PBS on mm-hmm. the American Revolution. And you think history because you studied it in, I don't know, like 8th grade mm-hmm. or high school, or maybe you took a course in college, maybe you've read a few books. But I think it's really important to go back and watch some of these documentaries because it's really amazing. The one thing, we tend to grow up and we tend to think that the stuff just happened and the chips just fell and they were always going to fall that way. We were always going to have a revolution. The North was always going to win the Civil War. We were always going to win World War II. But the reality is, at the time, that wasn't the case. And lots of things and lots of people sacrificed and made important decisions and really risked to have those things turn out the way they did. And so if that makes sense to you, that's what I think I come back to today when things sometimes are bleak, mm-hmm. in that we cannot just sit back and just watch the things that we know are wrong happen. We have to stand up. We have to do whatever we can. And that's what previous generations of Americans have done.
Great answer. We've been having a lot of fun. We've been talking about Thanksgiving specific questions, but I think I want to transition a little more into kind of general questions. So my first question for you, and this was a team effort. How accurate is Top Gun?
Well, it depends on what you're talking about, uh-huh. right? I mean, if you have a specific question about Top Gun, mm-hmm. I can answer that. How accurate is it? So throw the specific question out, and if it's not specific, I'll try to.
So I know the nicknames are right, but like, how often do you guys have volleyball matches on the beach? Is that something that you guys lead with?
That part is not super accurate. Nor is it super accurate to say that to rip off your shirt for the guys and have them look all like ripped like that.
That's not common.
Not super accurate. There are some that are, I will admit, but many are not. Mm-hmm. I think that. Look, there is a school called Top Gun. Mm-hmm. It's Naval Fighter Weapons School. It's used to be in Miramar, California. It is now in Fallon, Nevada. Mm-hmm. And there's also a Marine Corps version of this. It's out of Yuma, Arizona. I went through the Marine Corps version, which was called at the time MDTC, Marine Division Tactics course. And that was one of the hardest things I ever did in the military, was that course. It was absolutely one of the hardest things I ever did. But there's a lot that the movie is. First of all, you don't go right from graduating from a place called Top Gun and then deploy mm-hmm. immediately to fight some bandit somewhere.
Okay.
The whole point of Top Gun is to take people to train them to be the trainers mm-hmm. for the fleet. So those people that go there, they get qualified and then they go back to their units and they train their units. Okay. But it is obviously a very prestigious school. Mm-hmm. You do get call signs. You get call signs when you get out to the fleet. And, in Top Gun, all the call signs were pretty cool. in the real world, especially in the Marine Corps, your call sign isn't always about how it's not always a cool thing. Mm-hmm. It's mostly making fun of you. So in the Air Force, they have cool call signs. Mm-hmm. In the Navy, they're kind of cool. And in the Marine Corps, it's usually a joke.
Mm-hmm. That seems, for the Marines, people in the Navy, and the people in the Air Force that I know, that makes sense and that tracks. So that feels right to me. Let's see. What else do we want to talk about? Okay, here we go. What is your favorite movie or comfort movie that you come back to over and over again? If you have one. If you don't, that's fine.
Okay. Comfort movie. Okay. Uh-huh. Well, I will say I have a lot of favorite movies. Mm-hmm. Okay. So it's hard to narrow it down to just one. And I love The Princess Bride. It's kind of a classic. I just love it. I can watch it. Mm-hmm. And I guess when you think about favorite movie, it's one that if it comes on TV, mm-hmm. you don't turn it off.
Right.
You've seen it 100 times, and instead of like, I've seen this 100 times, you're like, oh, I'm going to sit down and watch it again. Mm-hmm. That to me is the definition of, okay. So I think that one is one. Another one is The Sound of Music.
That's so
I love The Sound of Music. Call me a sap. Mm-hmm. Call me a romantic. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I love that movie. I watch it every time.
Are you a musical?
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, come on.
Another one I love. That's kind of, you know. And they're totally different, right? I mean, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Sound of Music, way, way different. But
this is a personal question for me then. Have you seen Star Wars? And do you like Star Wars?
Sure. Of course I've seen Star Wars. I'm an American.
Okay. How many have you seen? And do you have a favorite Star Wars movie?
I've seen them all.
Okay.
The favorite, that's a good question. I kind of like the original ones. Mm-hmm. Probably because I grew up on them, mm-hmm. you know. And then we had the prequels, mm-hmm. the
when
3
I was growing
before,
up.
and then we had the 3 after. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I never got into them as much. Mm-hmm. But I do like Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
Heck yeah.
Probably are my favorite.
That's a good answer. Thank you for indulging me. I appreciate that. Moving from movies, let's talk a little bit about music. What are you listening to right now? And do you have a pump up song right now that like gets you like you're about to go to a fundraiser or you're about to get on a podcast? You want to feel good. Is there anything that you're listening to right now that pumps you up and gets you ready for
that? Well, because I have moved in my life from like it being just about me to being mostly about my children, I listen to whatever the kids want. Mm-hmm. And because they know how to get on my Apple Music and make playlists and everything, whenever we get in the car, they turn their own playlist on. And the one that we listen to the most is usually the one that my daughter puts on because she's really into music. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure that it's my favorite, but I like them. I get veto power. Let's just say that. So, you know, she will put on a lot of Pink, a lot of Lady Gaga. And I listen to that stuff.
Do you have a favorite? You know, I have to ask now, do you have a favorite Lady Gaga song?
I don't know if there's a favorite. The one we keep playing is Rain on Me.
Okay.
We like that one.
Yeah.
And we know all the words and we'll sing it together. So, you know, that's kind of where we go.
That's wonderful. You talked a little bit about your love of history. Do you have a favorite president and why why do you have that choice?
That is also a good question. I think everybody seems to have a favorite president of Abraham Lincoln for obvious reasons. And I think he is probably number one in my book too. But I also have great respect for Teddy Roosevelt, who built up our Navy, or started, I should say, the buildup of our Navy. And I think that was really important for our national security and our power in the world. And I have great respect for FDR and Eisenhower. Eisenhower because he he was a military guy who recognized that, and he was a Republican, but he recognized that you really need government to do certain things. And he was good at compromising to make government work. He also saw national security things that needed to happen that we needed to do for our country, and that I think was really important. Not going back to isolationism, for example, maintaining a presence around the world. He saw that to be important, and I think that was visionary. FDR, because he got us through the Great Depression and a world war. Although I'm not a fan of 4 terms for president, so I think it's probably good that we capped it at 2. But I think he was pretty good.
Okay. Wonderful. All right. Before we transition into our last little segment, I want you to put your professor hat on for a second. What would you tell young people right now who are feeling defeated or left behind by today's political climate?
I would say what I was told by one of my lifelong mentors when I was thinking about getting into politics. And I was worried at the time. I was in the military, and I was worried that politics was considered something that was dirty, that was a place for people without integrity. And I was worried about that. And I remember going and asking this person, what do you think if I made this leap from the United States Marine Corps to politics? Would I lose myself? What do you think about that? And he said to me, politics is all about people. And if you care about people, you got to care about politics. You can't, that's all the same. And so I would say to young people, you can't check out. You have to stay engaged, because if you care about people and you care about the rest of society and you care about your neighbor and the kind of country that you want to see, you have to stay engaged. That's what I would tell them. It's not a oh, I'd like to do this. It's a must. If you're open and you understand what's going on, you must stay engaged. You have to.
Great answer. Love that. All right. Our last segment that we're going to do today. As you know, Amy, imitation is the most sincere form of flattery. One of my heroes, Stephen Colbert, has this segment on The Late Show that he calls the Colbert Questionnaire. As you pour your bourbon, ready for more questions. And I think it would be fun for you to take the Colbert Questionnaire. So,
okay,
stick with me, okay? They're going to be
all right.
Kind of fast questions. Amy McGrath, what is the best sandwich?
Cold cut combo, Subway.
What was your first concert?
Oh my gosh. I don't know.
Or what's your favorite concert?
Well, I like Alison Krauss. So I've gone to, when I was in the military, I would try to go see her every year, Alison Krauss. But I do remember my first movie.
Oh, what was that?
And that was Herbie Goes Bananas.
I've never heard of it before.
You've never heard of it because you're too young. But
thank you for saying that. You didn't have to.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think it was like 1980 or something like that. And that was like the first movie I saw. It was Drive-In.
What is the scariest animal?
I am not a fan of snakes. And so I think, your cobras, your really nasty rattlesnake type,
Agreed.
Big nasty snakes. That would be very scary for Amy.
Apples or oranges?
Apples.
Have you ever asked someone for their autograph?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've when I was a kid, I mean, I was a big fan of sports, so I would ask, baseball players, and we never went to football games; we couldn't afford it.
Mm-hmm.
But we went to baseball games, and we would often, stick out a piece of paper to, Johnny Bench or Pete Rose and try to get their autograph. Yeah.
Heck yeah. We were talking about favorite movies and all that earlier. What's your favorite action movie?
I don't know if I probably Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I'll
if
have
you would
that.
consider that.
That's a great movie.
Action. I really loved that one.
This is going to get a little weird, so I'm sorry in advance. Favorite smell?
I love the smell of a fire in the fireplace on a really cold winter night when, you're curled up with, my husband or one of the kids or my dogs. And, you just sit there and you got a good book, and it's after a long day, you've done hiking or you've done some kind of exercise, and you just love it. I love that. Yeah.
Going off that, what's your
throw some bourbon in there?
Okay, there you go. Perfect. Going off of that, what's your least favorite smell?
I think Oscar is our 5-year-old dog, and he is awesome. He's an awesome Labrador Retriever. However, not the brightest bulb. And he, when he was about a year and a half, well, no, maybe he was older. It was like 2.5. He cornered a skunk.
Oh.
And he got sprayed in the neck like 6 times. And it was the poor guy. It was like he got tear gassed. I mean, he was just, it was terrible. He had to spend the night. It happened at like midnight. He had to spend the night outside. I wouldn't let him in the house. I mean, it was like absolutely terrible. Not only did this happen once, but it happened like 6 months later. He never learned his lesson.
No.
And so I guess he found the same skunk and decided he was going to go at him again.
My
he
gosh.
got sprayed again. I think that was probably the worst because it was so bad that we really couldn't even get the smell out for like a month. I mean, it was good enough where we could get it down to let him back in the house after a day or so after we treated him. But really, he smelled pretty bad for a long time.
Going off that, I remember when I would spend my summers up at my aunt's farm in Wisconsin. And to that end, her dog, Mary, got sprayed with a skunk at like 2 a.m. And I remember, and the minute she walked in the house, I was up. Like, cause like you could tell immediately that I'm with you on that. That's probably mine as well. You get one.
I don't think there's anything worse, honestly. I really don't.
I agree. You get one song to listen to for the rest of your life. What is it? Blame Colbert. Don't blame me. These are his questions.
Well, there's a song from Alison Krauss called "When You Say Nothing at All," and it is the song that my father and I danced to at my wedding. And I love that song. My father had cancer in the bone structure of his face years before I got married. I guess I don't know, 7 or 8 years maybe before. And so he had a hard time communicating. And so that was a song that I really loved, but it spoke to me and it, reminds me of Dad because he wasn't able to talk as much, but he said everything, through his love and through, his hugs and we communicated in other ways. So I love that song and That's what I would say.
This is a hard transition. I'm really sorry.
It's all right.
What are you thankful for, Amy?
I'm thankful for, I think, number one, my family, who have been so supportive through all the endeavors that I've tried to do in my life. But I'm thankful also for the country that we live in. And it has a lot of faults, there's no doubt. But I've been all around the world. And there is no better place that I would love to be and have been fortunate enough to grow up in and want to continue to work for than this country. So I'm thankful for that right now.
That's amazing. That's all I got for you, Amy.
Awesome. Well, this has been fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
And next mailbag, we should get some tough questions. I like tough questions.
You didn't think those were tough?
They are pretty tough. We
spent hours on those.
They're very tough, Bill. I enjoy this, and it's been a lot of fun. I know that you all and the team work very hard on this podcast, and we hope listeners have a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. We hope listeners are thankful for whatever it is in their lives, and I'm thankful also to the team for putting together such amazing quality work every week, where we have some great interviews, and we're looking forward to December. We've got a lot coming up and into next year.
Yes, ma'am. And if I can say what I'm thankful for, Amy, I'm thankful for you for trusting me with this. There's a Dick Van Dyke quote that I love. He was interviewed recently. He was talking about being an actor and having fun and being silly. I got paid to do something I was going to do anyway. Thank you for letting me do this. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to do it. This has been a lot of fun, and thank you so much for everything that you do for us.
Awesome. Cheers and happy Thanksgiving, everyone.